Okay, so today we're going to look at the turning kick or roundhouse kick. You see it in most striking arts. If I'm totally honest with you, I couldn't name a striking art where you don't see it. Now, we're going to look at the targets on the body. We're also going to look at how to initiate power into it, and also how to deliver it with protection, and finally, exactly which part of my lower leg I'm striking with. Now, first and foremost, distance. This is really important, because if I hit with the wrong part of my leg, I'm not going to initiate the best target effect. And what we always talk about absolute defense is about target effect, not about, right, okay, I'm going to hit him here. Well, why? What's the reason for that strike? Okay, and if you think that that stage further into what effect you want to have, then that has some value as to what sort of type of attacking tool you're going to use, and also where exactly you're going to strike him. So if I'm striking to the leg, for example, the purpose of that is to stop that leg working, so when I do my next thing, which is legging it away, obviously, get away from that person, get away from that threat, then he's going to struggle to chase after me. So that's the first reason for attacking the leg. If you think about targets now, as you approach the center point of the body, it's harder to move that target away. So if this guy knows that perhaps I've tried to kick him in the leg before, and so he knows that as soon as that leg moves, it might be another leg kick, he's going to move his leg out the way. Now if you look at this sort of range, if I move my leg out the way, it's really easy for me to move my lower leg out the way, and it's really easy to move this target out the way, the sort of lower part of my upper leg. But actually, the nearer I get to my center point, the harder it is to move that out the way, because I'll then need to move my whole body in order to move out the way. So actually, if you look at the targets in that order, if you strike just below the knee, in the top of the calf muscle here, that can be really destructive. Okay, the muscles are a lot smaller, so they're much easier to damage, and obviously near the ends of the muscle, they become a bit more vulnerable. So if you can strike there, that's a really good strike. But as I've just said, it's a lot easier to move out the way. Now, if you strike, which is a common one you see in mixed martial arts and other things, at the base of the thigh, lots of people hit mid-thigh. If you're going to go just general target, mid-thigh is a great thing to aim for, because if you're a little bit higher, a little bit low, it's still going to have some sort of effect. Thing is, if you hit a little bit lower, you're hitting near the end of that muscle, and that starts to damage the tendon, which joins the muscle to the bone, and so you're getting a little bit more damage. It's going to last a little bit longer before he can start running after you again. Okay, so that's the next target, and again, that's a bit easier to move away, but harder to move away than this one down here. Interestingly, I did this on a course once. I struck my opponent on that first target, and when I went to add insult to injury and strike that same target again, he actually lifted his leg up, and I got him down here. So there can be a detrimental effect with moving that target out the way as well. So let's move on to attacking tools. Now, lots of people in the past, I've said, when you're doing a kick like this, now you can deliver a kick with the ball of the foot, or you can deliver a kick with the top of the foot, the instep, or you can deliver a kick with the bottom of the shin, this bit down here. Now, just to break those few down, if you're delivering a kick like this, you lose a bit of range. Okay, so you're coming in here and you're delivering a turning kick in sort of traditional karate or taekwondo style. That is going to concentrate the force on the ball of the foot, so that's an advantage. But you've got that disadvantage of the fact that you are losing a bit of distance. Not much, but a little bit of distance. The other thing about it is if you're putting a lot of force through there, you're loading a lot of force onto the ankle and could damage the ankle. If you think about how you're moving that through, that is putting a lot of force through that ankle joint. Okay, the last thing you want to do is damage your foot or your ankle joint, because remember, in a self-protection situation, which is all I'm interested in, we're going to be running away next, so we don't want to be hobbling away trying to get away. The next one is the instep. Now, I found this when attacking a heavy bag with army style boots on, so pretty robust boots, and I struck with the instep on my foot, aiming to do a leg kick, so it was right at the bottom of the bag where it's extra compacted, and I felt a little bit of compression in my foot, which, apart from being a bit weird, hurt quite a bit. And I wasn't, it wasn't that bad, but for a few seconds I couldn't I couldn't use that foot properly. Not for very long, but for a little while. The other aspect is, of course, you're going to hyper extend your ankle joint. And if you miss and hit more towards the toe end, that's going to be even more so. Okay, so hitting with the instep, again, risks damaging the ankle joint. So the final position is the lower part of the shin. Okay, now you come in there, yes, you're sacrificing distance again, but actually I'm still beyond punching distance, and I'm still beyond punching distance when I'm here. Okay, so actually I'm relatively safe compared to coming in with hand techniques. The advantage of that is you're not going to compress those bones in the lower leg, and that's a really good place to strike with. Now, another thing you might think, particularly if you're a beginner, is the fact that actually if I'm striking with my shin, I know that one of my most sensitive parts of my body is my shin. Bash my shin on the table or something like that, it really hurts. You are going to have to condition your shins in order to strike here, but remember that you're aiming for the muscle, not the joint. Okay, so if you strike above there into the muscle, there is some padding for at least for you, and you're going to be doing that damage to the opponent. Okay, so that's moving on to that bit. Now let's look at delivering power. Okay, so it's really important to use the hands to initiate the torque of the body and pull the leg round. Okay, in exactly the same way as when I'm delivering a punch, I'm going to use my legs to initiate hip rotation to produce torque across my body to then deliver the punch and maximize the amount of my body that I'm putting behind that punch, but also the number of muscles in that chain to deliver that punch. That's going to maximize the attack speed of my fist and then have maximum effect on the target. Back to effects-based striking again. Okay, the other side of it is that when we're doing it the other way round, we still need to initiate that torque. If I start here and have no body movement, apart from the fact that when I hit the target, my hips are at an odd angle and I'm at the limit of the range of my movement. Okay, so if I have no other body movement, I'm not only limiting my range, so if I do that, that's about as far as I can get without spinning my base foot, and so therefore I'm already losing speed, losing power, and losing range on that technique. And we need to be striking through the target. I'm aiming to finish my kick over here, or like the Muay Thai fighters do, come all the way round and back to here, if I can. That means I'm going right the way through the target and really siding it down. So I'm initiating by turning my foot outwards. That means that I've got the range of movement to then come all the way through, but I'm also pushing out with this hand to then pull it back and have some sort of reaction force to make sure I'm balanced and I'm not going to go and then fall over. Okay. So I'm pushing through with this hand, and if you think about it, actually that's really good. If I'm going to set it up with a strike, I can strike to the face, fingertip strike, palm heel strike, and then come in with this one, however that might be. I'm in this position here, which is the position I want to be in to initiate my strike anyway. Then I can come in and pull this back. Now what I see an awful lot of when people deliver turning kicks is this, and pulling the hand right down here. Now we know that if we have a reaction force that is exactly in line with the force that's going out, the strike that's going out, that is the best type of reaction force. Okay, so I can see why that comes, but if the problem is, if I mess this kick up, or if they move their leg and it doesn't have any effect, then my hand's down here, this fist is going to come in, smash, and get me right in the head because I've got no protection. So when I do throw that arm, I need to bring it back to here, okay, and that takes practice. And when I first started sort of realizing that, it took me quite a lot of practice to do it, and even now sometimes I drop it a little bit low. So what I'm looking to do is, okay, so I'm still using that push through, gaining that torque in the body, and pushing that, pulling that back to here as a guard, but I'm not dropping it down. I'm not, opening myself right up if I mess this kick up. Okay, which happens. I might, as I do my rotation, I might slip off. If I'm on the edge here, and I haven't realised it because I'm not aware. I'm focused on the attacker, and I do this, and I fall over. Then that's going to create a problem. Okay, or I'm on the edge of something, there's a rock, or there's something throws my balance off. Then that could be a problem. Okay, so we're pushing through here, creating that torque, and then delivering that target. And as I said, I'm aiming to push right the way through, like way through. Okay, as I turn my foot, I'm opening my hips up. Okay, so I'm not turning my foot and kicking it like this. I'm opening my hips up because what that does is push my hips through the target, which allows me that range of movement to push right the way through. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is about height. And I've sort of talked about it with low and mid, but one of the other targets that is very often ignored is striking the hip flexor. Now that's very close to the center of mass and therefore difficult to move out of the way. Of course, if I'm in a stance like this target and this target are closer than this target by about how much? What's that? I have to convert it into like new fashioned distance because I'm very old, and that's what, 15-20 centimeters, something like that. Okay, so I've got to cover that distance a little bit more. But if I can come in there and strike into the hip flexor, then it's a lot less likely to be able to be moved, and it's whilst I'm risking a little bit now my leg bit getting caught, and of course if the person knows that's coming and turns away and I just hit him in the backside, that's fairly padded, so not too much of a drama. All right, so it does carry risk, of course. The final position that I'm going to look at is the ribs. Okay, now you only have to push into here, and they are very, very sensitive around here, particularly the floating ribs, and what we mean by that is that they're not directly connected from the sternum to the spine. They're down at the bottom and just connected to the other ribs above it. So there's more flex. And the other good thing about that, of course, is that you've then got access to the organs underneath. Now, if you want to do a liver shot, it's best to come in on the left because the liver is across to a human's right-hand side. So as I'm looking at it, my left. But there's still value in striking this side. So if you're right-footed and you're better at kicking this side with your right foot, that's still going to have effect. That strike into there is very sensitive, and it's very sensitive because it's usually covered by our arms. So we don't often knock into things or have people knock into us around that area. So there's no natural conditioning. Okay, so if we do that, then we're looking at coming in higher up, and with old Bob here, he's going to fall over. Well, Bob. He takes a lot of abuse. He doesn't say a word. He's a top bloke. So hopefully that's given you a good detailed breakdown of everything we've talked about, from the targets and the different values in the targets, the different attacking tools and how we can change those, and what difference that makes, and also how to deliver power into those strikes. Thanks very much. Please hit subscribe and hit the bell notification symbol, and then you'll see our next video when it comes up. See you later. Cheers.